You can take the guest room or move out, Dad said when my brother suddenly moved in with his wife. Better if you're gone by tomorrow, my brother added cheerfully. I moved out a week later. Panic set in. She's lying. Mom, tell me she's lying. My brother screamed. Hey, Reddit. It's strange how quickly you can go from family to unwanted guest. That's exactly what happened to me. One moment, I was living peacefully in my parents' house, helping with groceries, paying the utilities, taking care of the garden while saving to buy my own place. The next, my brother showed up with his new wife, and suddenly I didn't belong anymore. It all started on a quiet Thursday evening. Dad called me downstairs, his tone flat and rehearsed. When I saw both him and my brother sitting in the living room, I felt that sinking feeling you get before bad news. You can take the guest room, Dad said bluntly. Or move out. For a moment, I thought he was joking, but he wasn't. My brother leaned back on the couch, his arm draped around his new wife like he already owned the place. Better if you're gone by tomorrow, he said cheerfully. I just stared at him. He'd been married less than a week. And here he was, throwing me out of the house I had lived in for 8 years. The house where I took care of Mom when she was sick. The house where I'd celebrated every holiday alone while he chased his dream career abroad. And now he wanted my room. You can't be serious, I whispered. Dad. But Dad didn't meet my eyes. He just sighed. It's only fair, honey. They're newlyweds. They need space. You're an adult now. I bit my lip to stop it from trembling. I am an adult. I said quietly. That's why I've been paying your bills while you helped him plan his wedding. My brother rolled his eyes. Oh, don't start that again. We get it. You're the responsible one. You want a medal? That was it. The moment I realized they didn't see me as family anymore, they saw me as inconvenient. So, I did what they wanted. I packed my bags that night. Every photo, every memory, every reminder of my place in that house gone. Mom stood silently at the doorway. She didn't say goodbye. She didn't even hug me. I remember looking at her one last time and thinking, this isn't about space. This is about love and who you choose to give it to. By the next morning, I was gone. My best friend, Lily, let me stay at her apartment while I figured things out. For the first time in years, I had no home. But somehow, I felt more peace in that tiny spare room than I ever had in my parents' big, cold house. Still, I couldn't stop wondering why they'd done it so easily. What had changed so suddenly? Why had Dad been so quick to side with my brother? Then 1 week later, I found out. My phone rang early in the morning. It was Mom. Her voice was trembling. We need to talk, she said. When I arrived, the house felt different, colder, emptier, boxes stacked in the corner, tension heavy in the air. My brother wasn't smiling this time. He looked pale, almost panicked. When he saw me, he blurted out, "She's lying. Mom, tell me she's lying." I froze. "What's going on?" I asked. No one answered at first. Then Mom spoke. Her eyes darting between me and my brother. "It's about the house," she said slowly. "The title isn't what your father thought it was." I frowned. "The title?" My brother jumped in, voice shaking. "Dad said the house was his. He said it would go to me eventually, but apparently it's not." I didn't understand until Mom handed me a folder. Old yellowed property documents. When I opened them, I nearly dropped the file. The house was under my grandfather's name. And after his passing 5 years ago, it had legally transferred to me. "He left it to me," I whispered. Mom nodded, ashamed. "He wanted you to have security. You took care of him at the end. Your father, he didn't want you to know." I could feel my brother's glare burning into me. "That's not true. She's lying," he shouted, pointing at Mom. "She's trying to turn us against each other." But Dad wasn't offending him this time. He just sat quietly staring at the floor. "So you threw me out," I said, my voice breaking from the house that's legally mine. No one spoke. Even my brother's wife shifted uncomfortably. The silence was louder than any apology. I turned to leave, but as I did, Dad finally spoke. "I thought it would be easier this way," Nay said quietly. "Your brother, he needed it more." I turned back and met his eyes. "No, Dad. You just assumed I'd never fight back." That was the last conversation we had for a long time. Over the next few days, I stayed away. My lawyer confirmed everything. The house, the property, every document was in my name. Apparently, Grandpa had filed it quietly years before his death, and Dad had been living there under my ownership without realizing it. Then one morning, a thought struck me. Not out of revenge, not even anger, just fairness. I decided to send an official letter giving them 30 days to vacate my property. I didn't want to embarrass them. I didn't even want to see them again. But sometimes the only way to fix a broken story is to end it with truth. When the letter arrived, I heard later that Mom cried, Dad went silent, and my brother went ballistic. He called me nonstop, demanding I take it back. But I didn't. For years, I'd been the one cleaning up everyone's mess, giving up space, giving up peace, giving up love, just to keep the family together. Now, for once, I chose myself. That house was more than walls and windows. It was a symbol of everything they'd taken for granted and everything I had quietly earned. A week later, I went back just once to collect some remaining documents. The house was quiet, empty boxes everywhere, the garden overgrown, the photos gone from the walls. As I stood in the living room, sunlight pouring through the window, I whispered to myself, Grandpa, you knew exactly what you were doing. And somehow I could almost hear his voice. Family isn't who stays under your roof. It's who lets you belong there. 1 month later, the house was mine again legally and emotionally. But what happened after that was something none of them expected. It had been exactly 30 days since I sent the letter. 30 days of silence, no phone calls, no apologies, no we were wrong. And honestly, I didn't expect any. Still, on that final day, I drove up to the old house, the place that had once been filled with laughter, family dinners, and childhood memories. Now, it stood still and quiet, just like the people inside. When I walked up the driveway, I saw my brother sitting on the porch, head in his hands. He didn't even look up at first. You won, he muttered finally. Happy now. I paused, clutching the umbrella tighter. It was never about winning, I said softly. It was about respect. He laughed bitterly. Respect. You threw your own family out of their home. No. I corrected him quietly. I took back the home you threw me out of. Big difference. He looked up then, and for the first time I saw something in his eyes that wasn't arrogance or anger. It was shame. I didn't know Grandpa left it to you. He said, almost whispering. Dad told me it was his house. And you believed him. I said because it suited you to believe him. He looked away. I didn't mean to. Yes, I cut him off gently. You did. You meant every word when you told me to be gone by morning. And that's okay. I meant every word of this notice. 2. The door opened behind us. Mom stood there, her face pale and tired. Dad was beside her, quiet as a shadow. Mom spoke first. Please don't do this. We'll move out, but can we have more time? It's just your father's not well. I took a deep breath. You had 30 days. I didn't rush you. I didn't send anyone. I gave you peace and time. The same things you never gave me. Dad finally spoke. His voice rough. You're not the person we raised. I looked him straight in the eyes. No, I'm not. I'm stronger than the person you raised. For a moment, no one spoke. Even the rain seemed to slow outside. Then Mom said softly, he'll never forgive you. I looked at my brother again. Maybe not, but one day he'll understand. I turned to leave, but before I reached my car, I heard Mom's voice again. Low, broken. She's lying, right? The lawyer's lying. The papers are lying. This can't be real. Dad's silence answered for him. And that was it. The moment everything they'd built, all their favoritism, all their pride came crashing down. Weeks passed. I focused on my work, my peace, my life. But every night I thought about them, not with anger, but with that hollow ache that only family can leave behind. Then one afternoon the doorbell rang. When I opened the door, I froze. It was Grandma, the one person who had quietly loved me through it all. She looked older, frier, but her eyes still sparkled. "I heard about what happened," she said gently. "I didn't want it to be this way." I whispered. She nodded. "I know, but sometimes the only way to teach people value is to take away what they take for granted." Her words cut deep because that's exactly what Grandpa must have thought when he left the house to me. He knew. He always knew. She smiled faintly, reaching into her purse and pulling out an envelope. "He left this for you, too. Said you'd know when it's time." I hesitated before opening it. Inside was a short handwritten note. Grandpa's handwriting, shaky but firm. "Family will test you. Some will use love as a weapon, others as a shield. But remember, the ones who truly love you don't take your home from you. They build it with you." I didn't realize I was crying until Grandma gently wiped a tear from my cheek. "He was proud of you," she said softly. "He said you had the kind of strength this family needed." I smiled weakly. "I just wish it didn't have to hurt so much to find it." She squeezed my hand. "Pain is the chisel, darling. It shapes who we're meant to be." A few days later, I got a message from an unknown number. It was my brother. "I moved out. I'm sorry. I know it doesn't fix anything. I just needed to say it." For a long time, I stared at the message. Then I typed back, "Thank you. I hope you build something that's truly yours." I hit send and for the first time, I felt free. Months passed. The house became home again. I painted the walls, filled it with light, laughter, and a peace that no one could take away this time. Every corner held both memory and meaning, of loss, of love, and of lessons learned too late. Sometimes I'd sit on the porch at sunset and think about Grandpa, about his quiet wisdom and the strength he must have seen in me when no one else did. And though part of me missed having a family under that roof, I realized something powerful. Family isn't about who you share a last name with. It's about who protects your heart when the world feels cruel. One night, I wrote a letter and placed it in the same drawer where Grandpa kept his papers. It said simply, "Thank you for teaching me that love should never come with conditions. Sometimes losing the people who never valued you is how you finally make room for peace that always."